Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny.
Never seen this before.
I actually have never seen this before.
You didn't see the Rifftrax of it before?
No, this is my first time seeing Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny.
Okay, well, the one they did, the other one that was on DVD and from their site, it had the Thumbelina sketch in it
I knew
instead
that.
of Jack and the Beanstalk. And I only saw it once, half paying attention, but I think this one was a better little sketch in between.
Could you not give this your full attention?
It was more ADD than I remember, but to be fair, I was with friends, so I was like talking over it, but like such nonsense most of the time. I couldn't make out what they were saying half the time. I'm like, what is Santa talking about? I can't hear him.
Oh, I could understand what Santa was saying, but it didn't matter. It so didn't matter.
It was mostly just like, oh, try harder, all this won't work. Oh, I'm so hot.
Nothing like summertime, 100-degree weather Christmas movie. Perfect, with the Ice Cream Bunny, who has no ice cream. Because calling it Santa and the Easter Bunny would have been too hard.
Well, you don't want them to be confused that this is a Christmas movie. Because certainly there's so much Christmas in it.
Oh, this was amazing. So were the shorts in front of it.
I like the shorts a lot.
Me too. One of them I'd seen before. The others I hadn't. Then each one got more. There's 3 of them, and each one got more crazier than the other. Because it starts out with one where it's Santa Claus telling the story about monkeys. Makes sense.
Monkey one.
God.
Can we not go one Christmas without having the story of Chester the pretzel monkey shoved down our throats?
It was like, man, Santa's just horrifying in general, and shorts like this like really show how just terrible and creepy Santa Claus is.
Well, like, there's so many shorts that, like, especially old-timey movies, that always make Santa just constantly laughing.
Yeah.
Especially when there's despair happening around him. What is wrong with him?
And this was like making some kind of weird leap between Christmas and monkeys that was kind of like watching Kirk Cameron talk about Christmas, because it was sort of like, I don't understand Christmas. Well, blankets. Okay. And swaddling cloth. Makes sense. You still haven't seen Saving Christmas
No,
yet?
I haven't.
Don't worry, it won't make sense when you see it.
It sounds like it makes about as much sense as the monkey story.
Well, you see, if you want to know the true meaning of Christmas, just look towards the swaddling cloth. All right, fine.
They said that was the oldest short that they ever did.
Oh, you could.
Was the Santa Claus one. Like, how old do you think that was? Like, that had
50s.
50s? That looked older than that to me.
I mean, it looked older than that. I mean, well,
it might have just been in bad shape.
I'm trying to think of, like, when something like that could have been... Well, it could have been made earlier than that.
I was thinking, like, 30s or 20s. Maybe it's not that old, but it's certainly... It looked older than the 50s to me.
Yeah, because it looked like... I mean, it looked like just one of those, like... If you took the sound out of it, it looked like one of those horrible silent films from the teens that was about Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
Except you could hear him talking in this.
Yeah, I guess since they had sound in it, it was probably... It wouldn't be in the 20s. I don't think they had it yet.
But it had a very, like, nuclear family quality to it, too, in terms of, like, the kids, and, I don't know, like, for me, it seemed 50s, but it could easily be way older.
All I know is all the people involved are likely dead now. And then they couldn't possibly foresee that this is what would happen with their very creepy monkey special.
And each one got more insane because the other one was horrifying shots of children's teeth.
Oh yeah, the fucking Custard the dragon.
Yeah.
With the brick face.
Brick face dragon.
Yeah. Like, was anything about that Christmas related at all, except there was a Christmas tree?
There was a Christmas tree and a dragon eats a pirate.
I love that. I love the dragon eats a pirate. And then at the end of the Jack and the Beanstalk, the giant is very easily done away with.
Yeah.
And then they sing a song that starts with, "The giant is dead." What?
I know, it got very cop rockish there for a second when they're singing very happy about some horrible things that just happened.
They'll write again. No, you certainly won't.
All I remember really about the custard one is the dragon eating the
Oh,
pirate.
he was stealing presents. I guess that was a Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The pirate was stealing their presents, and just close-up shots of just awful teeth, awful kids' teeth, just gummy and protruding out of their. It's all terrifying.
The kids sleeping in the living room, and the cage covered in paper for no reason. That the dragon goes to sleep in
his cell where he belongs because he eats people.
With this plate full of pirate remains.
Yeah. Oh man, there should have been just blood all over skull sitting there eating his meat off of a femur bone or something.
These were top-notch shorts. They all made me laugh a lot. And sometimes the shorts can kind of test my patience, but these ones didn't.
These ones, they showed 3 of them. All 3 of them were relatively short. Short enough to where...
Maybe that's why. It didn't.
Yeah, because they weren't like 30 minutes worth of carving magic or anything like that. I wouldn't say any of them were over 10 minutes.
Yeah, they flew by.
Oh, and that third one that I'd seen before.
Was that the one you riffed? You said you might have ripped it?
I thought it was another one at first. When they started describing it, when they said the name, I thought it was that one that I did a riff of last year or the year before that was Santa's workshop in a mall or something. I can't remember exactly what all went into it, but I thought it was that at first, but no, that one I'd seen because I'd seen it on Geek Juice before when they riffed it. I can't remember if it was one I was on or not, but I'd seen that one before, and it just seems like it takes place in the same universe as fucking Little Red Riding Hood and the Monsters.
Well, it fits in with Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny, too, actually. Mm-hmm. Random mascot animals that have nothing to do with Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and...
It was Santa's Enchanted Village, I think is what it was called.
That was it. Yeah. Santa's Enchanted Village, in which you had a skunk with a high-pitched voice, like in that Little Red Riding Hood movie, and then a creepy wolf with... the same voice. God, this wolf is in charge.
He talks about his ulcer all the time.
He's got a terrible ulcer.
I have an ulcer.
I have an ulcer, and he's telling his problems to Santa because the wolf's in charge of Santa's workshop.
Santa just laughs at him. Fucking asshole.
I got problems.
My favorite part is his accordion theme.
Mm-hmm.
Just, not anyone playing an accordion, just wah, 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 wah.
It's like it instantly makes me think of Torgo's music coming in every time Torgo just starts walking. But it
wasn't catchy as Torgo's theme. It was just nonsense.
Yeah, it was if you were wearing bedtime slippers and they made sounds every time you walked, those silly ones from the 90s that sounded like dinosaur shit, it was dinosaur feet and you walk and it was brr, brr, brr.
It's if a cartoon, I think it was one of the jokes they made too, it was if a cartoon gets squashed and then comes up like an accordion and then broken accordion sound. It was that.
Oh yeah, exactly. This is the kind of gold mine that you find when it's really late at night and you're just searching through archive.org.
As you're wont to do.
I've gone down that rabbit hole before. I feel like I should riff something for Thanksgiving. Off to archive.org. Thanksgiving. A day of Thanksgiving, 1950s. Spy shit. Okay, download.
It seemed like the Santa's Enchanted Village... The ending was just we don't have an ending, so here he's laughing at the puppet show, and then Santa's end?
Yeah. Well, at least, actually reminds me, at least we got to see, the opening this time, though.
Yeah.
Because when we did the Miami Connection one, it just started, right in the middle of the short that they were doing.
Yeah, that one, I don't know, there's something messed up with that one, but at least this time we got an introduction.
Yeah, we got to see them walk out at the beginning of it and give each other Christmas gifts.
Well, that's some of the best parts, yeah.
Yeah, I like those parts, because that's what I miss about Rifftrax versus Mystery Science Theater.
Just like little in-between things where you interact with each other.
That's one of the things I like best about coming to see the live shows here in the theater, because you get to see them, like, just goofing around with each other and shit. And you get to see more of, like, you know, just the smiles on their faces as they're watching this shit. So it's like, they love this bad shit.
Well, and like when they crack up or mess it up too.
Yeah.
I really like that.
When they mess up a line, damn it. That does have to be fucking hard.
Oh, definitely. I don't know how they... lots of practice.
20 years of practice.
20 years of practice.
Oh my god. You'd seen, how many times had you seen Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny before? Just the one time?
Just the once, but I was talking with friends, so it's not like I was paying close attention. So there's a lot of it that's just like really repetitious. Like you get to see people walking up vines in the Jack and the Beanstalk, and I'm sure there was stuff in Thumbelina that was similar.
That giant is amazing.
The giant was great.
The giant was, oh my god. I like, those are some of my the funniest jokes I think that they have, and even on Mystery Science Theater, when they're making fun of and putting words into the mouth of just some gross person.
Yeah, like that's the entirety of Mitchell, isn't it?
Mitchell, or the Final Justice, or like a Final Sacrifice, when it's that Yosemite Sam type guy on screen. And
well, all of Rousdower, really.
Rousdower, too. And that gross, like, Ozarks dude from fucking Boggy Creek 2, who was, like, keeping Boggy Creek's son captive in his barn.
What was it? Werewolf was the one that had that weird military nut with the beard?
I think so.
Where it's just like, I don't know, all the jokes with him were really funny. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but...
Well, ones I could think of for the like prospector type dude in Final Sacrifice was just ending a lot of his sentences with like Yosemite Sam, and goddamn, I was like in tears when they're making fun of this fucking giant in this movie.
I was laughing a lot at this one, like even more than the previous time I watched it, because I was actually paying attention to it.
This one of the 4 they've done this year, this one might be my favorite, because one of the parts I laughed at the most was actually just about the movie more than it was them talking, which was that dog not having any of that ice cream bunny. It's just does not want that fucking rabbit touching him, and is visually pissed that this guy in a rabbit costume is trying to pet him.
That rabbit is barely in this. And that's the best part about it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, as soon as he showed up, all of the jokes, laughing so hard. When he's just reaching blindly, this guy in this mascot to, like, pat kids' heads, walking around with his giant feet, this truck going through this horribly unstable road, nearly knocking kids and Santa off his truck. Yeah. Conducting them, like, no, use both hands.
It looks like a fucking community theater version of, like, Grapes of Wrath, where they're heading to California way with the ice cream bunny.
I mean, it was shot so badly. I mean, like, because I'm used to, I mean, you watch more crap from, like, back then than I do, but, like, I'm used to, usually, if I watch something that's that old, there's a little more care in it than just handheld shot on shitio.
Oh,
But this was shot so badly.
This movie, there are 2 things that look... I've seen a lot of stuff like this, and this stuff, to me, is the greatest shit in the world to find. And it had to have been awesome when they stumbled upon this, because I'm sure even you've been like this, where you found something that you're pretty sure you're the only person who's seen it, and then you go online, like, has anyone else talked about this? And then when you find out they haven't, you're like, oh my god, I've just found a treasure. Like, I'm sure they were with this movie. And like Fun in Balloon Land, which I had 3 days of joy with that, and then Rifftrax did it like 3 days after I found it. Like, what, Miss Velma, that shit from I saw a couple of weeks ago, like, I'm sure you've stumbled upon some stuff where you're like, I think I might be the first person who has seen this, at least on the internet.
There's a lot of ones that I find, like, no one's ever heard of this, but this is hilarious.
Yeah, like I found a treasure. Like us the first time we saw Tequila and Benetti.
Yes. It was a magical night.
Oh my god.
It's one of those things you're like, why did no one appreciate what they had?
Yeah, exactly. Fuck you, and God bless you, early 90s at the same time. There are two things that look like this movie. And one of them is horrifying fucking kids movie like this, or Fun in Balloon Land. And the other is porn. Because this also looks very similar to Bat Pussy. Just the worst, like, shit. Like, and both of them have the feel of, whether it's this, or Hitler's Harlot, or Fun in Balloon Land, or whatever, they have the feel of something that would be playing in the house of a serial killer right when the cops burst in. Like, every serial killer movie has that scene where the cops burst in and then some shit like this is playing, like on the TV or on some bed sheet on the fucking wall.
I mean, it seems like the camera person is drunk. Like, there's a shot where Santa's on his sleigh,
yeah,
and then it just pans down to the dirt by the sleigh and just kind of holds on it for a second and then cuts to something else. It was just like he just fell asleep and they just kept it in there.
I don't know if there wasn't necessarily care that went into this. I just think they don't know what they're doing, and they're using film equipment from the 70s where, like Manos, it's like, we can only shoot 30 seconds at a time on this shit, and well, if we fuck it up on one take, that's it. You know, like, when you're shooting it at least on videotape, it'll look less serial killer-y for one, and also, like, well, you can at least, like, rewind the tape. This is so 70s. This is so goddamn 1970s, from the fucking outfits that they're wearing and the goddamn Jack and the Beanstalk segment, where everyone's 20, but they look 45, even though I'm sure they're 20, just every 20-year-old looked 45 back then.
Everyone wears something ugly and paisley at one point.
Yeah.
Terrible pattern pants.
Yeah.
One thing I don't understand is, like, they have with Honest John or whatever, the salesman that keeps bamboozling them.
Yeah.
And at one point, they just didn't finish his arc. It was just like, he cheated everyone, and at one point they're like, let's have a town meeting to tar and feather him.
Yeah,
and then they're like, we killed the giant. And then he shows up in the window, and they're like, come on, you. And then he just sings a song with them about the dead giant. Mm-hmm. Like, you guys that guy cheated you.
You gonna tackle fucking Jerry Reed here for cheating you out of your damn money?
With his creepy cut-off pants and like, those are the kind of pants you wear, like those long socks, like in the like those old-timey French outfits, but he didn't wear any.
That guy kind of owned that role, though. Like, he was easily the best actor in this entire movie, if you can call any of it acting. But
he reminded me of Rutger Hauer a little bit.
He did. Rutger Hauer.
At first, I was like, that's it. No, it can't be him. No. He was doing real movies at this time.
Yeah.
He was good, and the giant was good, honestly.
Oh, he was great. That giant was fucking amazing. Whether it was the jokes at his expense or just singing that song and yelling at his poor wife.
That song did not match that character at all. It was so happy. Like, he's like, fee, fi, fo, fo. What? Aren't you angry? But all right.
So good. So good. It's just something that's just made by people who think they know how movies work, but really don't. But why not? They're making a kids movie, so the kids will like it. It's got kids in it, and a rabbit, and Santa, and a dog, and a monkey. That's what didn't make sense to me. They're trying to get Santa's sleigh out of the sand. Because sure. They're trying to get Santa's sleigh out of the sand, which at this point, he's running way late for Christmas. Like, they're gonna wake up in the morning with no presents because Santa's dicked around in the sand and told this stupid story about Jack and the Beanstalk's got nothing to do with Christmas. And then, so they're trying to get Santa's sleigh out of the sand. By the end of the movie, it could just disappear on its own, so fuck you, Santa Claus. But I figure if the guy in the gorilla suit can't pull this thing out, and that's the first one to try to do it, is the guy in the gorilla suit. If that can't pull this thing out, then what chance does a fucking sheep or a pig?
But they don't pull it out. He just gets a ride, and it's like, surely you could have ridden the horse out. You could have done any of that. Like,
right? Yeah.
They could have hitched the sleigh up to the car.
And the ice cream bunny, I guess, is then gonna just drive Santa to everyone's house.
Oh god, that was a terrifying Christmas.
At least this movie did address the fact that not every place is cold. Not every place is snowy in the winter. So there's gotta be moments, if Santa were to exist, where he's gotta be hot in this robe and hat.
With his swamp ass.
Yeah, with his swass.
I think my favorite nonsense moment is Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. Just watching from the bushes.
Yeah, and I forgot about him until they showed up at the very end of the movie.
But they did nothing. It just showed them like, yep, they're still watching.
Because why not?
They were there.
We got Jack and the Beanstalk in here. Might as well have Tom and Huck. The best pairing in the movie next to that guy's fucking moose knuckle.
Oh, God. Once they pointed it out, I couldn't stop looking.
Once they pointed it out, my first thought was, right there, that's what my balls look like when I'm wearing that fucking Santa onesie. That thing is so fucking uncomfortable. Like, I'm right there with Santa in this. Like, it is hot in that motherfucker. I get comments that are like, man, I'm jealous. That looks so comfortable. It's not. It is not at all.
You know, you can't feel too bad for Santa in this, because he just sits there and does fucking nothing while these kids are doing all this for him, and all he does is sit in his sleigh and go like, oh, it's hot, keep trying, Billy, girls, kid.
Woe is me.
There's no cheer for my predicament.
Lazy ass Santa. That guy is just a fucking janitor somewhere. Or was. If he still is. Wow, kudos.
I do love that this was just filmed at, like, it was Pirate World was the theme park they filmed it at?
I was thinking about that in the movie. I'm like, where is this Pirate World they're talking about? Is it just the beach? And then it shows up, which just looks like some fucking horrible county fair.
It looks like it's already been disused for some time.
Yeah.
Like, when you see abandoned theme parks, it looks like it's already like 20 years not in use anymore. It's so creepy looking.
Was it the Miami Connection video where we brought that up? I brought that up in some video where you can see, like, video of abandoned, like, theme parks, and they're all terrifying looking. Like, there's one Disney one. It's like a Disney water park that since been shut down.
But Animal Kingdom? No, that wasn't a water park, though. But that was one of them.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but, like, the music on the speakers still plays.
Yeah.
And, like, there's,
they don't
like,
cut off the power for it for some reason. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. I guess because they're just encouraging people to sneak in and make a horror film. Because you could, easily. There's some fucking post-apocalyptic movie. Like, they
should have filmed Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny at Chernobyl. I think that really would have added to the atmosphere.
Just thinking about that. It's like, if you got, like, shit like that'll just look like it's just adjacent to Chernobyl.
Yeah. That's what happened. That's why the Ice Cream Bunny exists. He's just some mutant.
Yeah.
Like a byproduct of nuclear leak going on in Chernobyl.
I felt sorry for, like, because in the audience, not our audience, but the audience for the Rifftrax, there was a couple of people there in Ice Cream Bunny costumes, and I was feeling sorry for the people who were sitting behind them.
I was thinking, like, that's gotta be hotter than balls wearing that.
Probably.
They probably took off the helmet, or, like, the headpiece at, some point during...
No, keep into character, man. Yeah, keep in character.
I admire the cosplay that they show during the credits of these things. Like, dedicated people.
There was a Joel, there was, that... one lady who, like, knitted this...
She, like, crocheted Tom Servo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was really cool.
There were cosplayers for Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn in there.
Were there really?
Yeah, they had, like, the straw hats.
I missed that. If I saw that, I was probably just like, well, they are in Tennessee. There's probably some straw hats going around.
It wasn't very good costumes in the movie, to be fair. The cut-off Hawaiian shirt, I don't know if it really fit, but...
Well, it only took Santa Claus, like, don't mind me, just looking for my glasses.
It fell on the floor, I think.
Oh, that's where they are.
Them fall
yeah, there
earlier.
they are. I always have to check this thing just to make sure it's still in focus.
Oh.
I'm always like, is it just I have my glasses off? Where were we? Oh yeah, Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn.
Well, they did nothing.
We can use these characters for free, so might as well.
Maybe there was a version of it that had that story in the middle of it. Like, maybe they did several where it's like, you know, there's a little fairy tale in between with...
That would make sense.
Public domain story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know why they wouldn't cut them out anyway, but...
Because when you got Tom and Huck in your movie, goddamn, you're gonna use them.
Because they never interact with anyone else. They're never shot in the same location, even, as anyone else. So there's no reason for them to be there. But to be fair... There's a lot of things that there's no reason for it.
The kid stays in the picture. Yeah, exactly. It's just, again, it's just, I don't know what kind of thinking went into making something like this, or Fun in Balloon Land, or any of these other bizarre as shit serial killer fucking kids movies. But it's just gotta be, like, just... weird parents in the 70s who just think, like, as long as we have these mythical figures and these storybook characters and a dog and whatever in this movie, surely the kids will like it just on that basis. And unfortunately, they're making it in the 70s, which means it's gonna look like a damn Zapruder film.
You know, it was probably just people who don't know anything about filmmaking or storytelling or making entertainment were just like, look, we can film this thing for kids. Mm-hmm. Let's put in all these things that kids like. Mm-hmm. And that's what they liked back then, or what they assumed kids liked, but they were horribly out of touch. So they're like, this is just what we have. Let's throw it in there. It's the same thing as, like, you know, in the 80s or 90s, and they're like, kids like rap. Throw some rap in here. Let's have a cute animal sidekick. All right, let's do that. It was like that, but 70s. And that's what they threw in there. And whatever was public domain.
Using this cheap film camera, so it just looks horrifying.
It really, most of it does look like a snuff film. Mm-hmm. Like, they had that horrible joke during the Jack and the Beanstalk one, which is shot better, but does have some shots that are creepy in it, because it's the 70s. And they have these projection shots of the giants so that, you know, Jack can walk in front of them, and they're giants. And they had the one where... the giant's just like this close-up of him sleeping, and they're like, oh God, it was John Belushi's last moments. And it was so horrible, but it did look like that. It looked like a snuff film of someone dying. Mm-hmm.
It looked like Wired.
Yeah, it looked like Wired.
The movie's about as realistic as Wired.
He did look like John Belushi in that shot.
Yeah.
It made it more disturbing. It's like, oh God.
I was wondering and also horrified to find out how they were going to do the giant versus
it was like, how are they going to do that in the 70s? Like that?
Well, I mean, it could be done. Even back then, you could do something like that and it would look fine. But I didn't think that was going to happen in this movie.
They couldn't afford to have a hen. They just had this stupid, like, paper mache gold hen that they're like, no, it's totally real. They don't even add any sound effects or anything. It's just clearly just a block of nothing. They're like, oh, look, it laid an egg. You can hang out on the mantle over here. What?
And you don't have much of a tolerance, do you, for, like, that bad 70s stuff that looks like this, or like Ton of Grass Goes to Pot.
Yeah, when it's really bad, earlier than the 80s, exploitation-esque, this one I can handle.
Right.
But like when it starts getting into that really shitty territory, it's difficult to sit through. That's something like the 70s to me is the worst era in film. Because everything is so brown or yellow. Everyone's depressed from Nom. It's just... It's just a depressing time in film. This was not so much.
No. This one
was, like, it's kids
it's
film.
cheerful, It
was more cheery than the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Star Wars Holiday Special is depressing at many points.
Yeah.
But this one, you'd be like, well, they didn't know, but they tried.
At least Star Wars Holiday Special looks like something that I wouldn't find in Gacy's crawl space next to, like, a dead child.
But when you watch it, you have to watch a bootleg. And it still looks like it was driven over by a truck anytime you watch it.
The 70s bad movies, like, sitting through this is better than sitting through something like Ton of Grass Goes to Pot, where just fucking nothing happens.
Yeah. It depends on the movie. It always
does.
Yeah,
because, like, if you're looking for, like, great films, then 70s is probably one of my favorite decades. But like, you can find way more cheerful bad movies in the 80s and the early 90s than some of the ones in the 70s. Some of the stuff, like, the stuff that just looks brown and, like...
It's so grimy and sleazy, and it just makes you feel gross. Which is great when you're watching something that's supposed to be sleazy. Yeah.
Like something like Thriller or Cruel Picture, or like something that's supposed to be grimy and just...
The 70s lends itself well to grimy, found in a dumpster look.
Yeah, and for the right movie, that's great. Like for like something that's about a serial killer or something that's about something horrible happening. Oh, then that's perfect, because I love that shit. But when it has that same look for something that's Santa Claus and a fucking rabbit, what the fuck? Or, like, I keep going back to this because it's the most recent one I watched, but Ton of Grass Goes to Pot, which is a hijinks movie about guys in a hot air balloon stealing pot, and it looks like, Joe Spinell should be scalping a hooker in the next room.
The ice cream bunny with its creepy suit and its wonky eye. Mm-hmm. It winks, but then its eye sort of stays half closed.
Fuck that shit. Oh.
Like, I gotta wonder, like, it's like, did people in the 70s, did kids in the 70s ever find this charming? Were they like, oh, this is great?
Or were they like... I'll bet you the teenagers did.
Maybe that's why the 70s was what it was.
Yeah.
Everyone was high. Mm-hmm. They didn't care.
Yeah.
Certainly people on this movie were definitely doing drugs.
I hope they were.
Because... The dog was doing drugs. The dog was having a bad trip when it saw that bunny. Yeah. It was not having a good time.
Yeah, they gave the dog the cocaine at the wrong fucking moment. I hope that they were on drugs when they made this, because at least it has an excuse.
I can guarantee someone involved with this had to have been on drugs.
I guarantee you at least, like, the teenagers and the 20-year-olds on set were probably on something, because they just looked like a joint.
I liked the ones that were obviously much older than the other kids. Like, they had one who was near there was one shot with the dog and Santa and the sleigh, and there was a girl next to him that looked like someone's mom. Yeah. And she just had pigtails in. Like, look, I'm a kid. I get to handle the dog.
God.
Because the dog is kind of big and scary, so... Drunk Santa, like, oh, you dog.
Santa just summoning children like nobody should.
The children running in slow-mo to him like they fucking got the bat signal, and summoning the Planeteers. What's going on there?
Yeah, like freeze frames that look like they're about to die had it not frozen.
The kid with the umbrella jumping off the roof. You're like...
That's something I would have done as a kid.
This kid's gonna win a Darwin Award. That's what's gonna happen, okay? Like, they showed him landing, and it's like, ooh. Like,
yeah.
Glad he didn't get hurt there. All right. No safety measures on this film.
I can vouch that he's not gonna win a Darwin Award, because I would do shit like that when I was a kid, and I ain't winning that shit. I stopped doing that shit when I became aware of my own mortality. Around the time I stopped going on carnival rides. Like, wait. People can die?
Kids don't know mortality, but then they met the ice cream bunny, and they became painfully aware.
And I saw the face of God. He exists. God's not dead. He's in the eyes of the fucking ice cream bunny.
I love when they did the Jaws quote.
Yeah.
The ice cream bunny got, it's the eyes.
Blackest eyes.
Like doll's eyes.
Black like doll's eyes.
And I remembered, too, the only joke I remembered from the Rifftrax DVD of this was the ice cream bunny and Bill Corbett going, and I was so glad he brought that back, because that's pretty much the best material. It's just any close-up of that thing and that creepy laugh.
I had a feeling that was probably also in the other riff of it. One, it was perfect, and how do you top that, and why would you change that?
No,
and
don't change it.
It was also in the song that...
Yeah.
Kevin Murphy's singing at the end.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best part of it, so I was glad that they brought that back, because that's... if you just saw the ending of that, it still would be worth it. You wouldn't even need to sit through any of the beginning of the movie. You would know as much as you know watching the whole thing, because nothing really makes a lot of sense. But, yeah, it was definitely worth seeing on the big screen.
Yeah, if you're watching this on Patreon... go see it when they re-air it. If you're watching it on my site, it might have already re-aired, and I'm sorry.
Well, look at the DVD. It'll be good.
Yeah, like the final thought I have on this is one that I have with every movie like this, where I'm always like, what fucking became of the people who made this? Because it might be horrifying.
Lots of drugs.
Yeah. At least this movie has a credit on it, so it's attributed to somebody, unlike Bat Pussy or fucking Fun in Balloon Land, which I can buy that was probably just made by whatever company made those balloons.
Yeah. I'm just imagining the people in Santa and the Ice Cream Bunny. They're still working Pirate World as a tumbleweed goes by. No one comes by, but they're still sweeping, cleaning up the place.
In purgatory.
In purgatory. With Santa telling random fairy tales to them.
Oh, God. Best season of American Horror Story ever.
Yes.
Ready to go see Krampus?
Let's do it.
Sweet. Later.
How long do we talk? 6 hours?